Ooh, summer's coming back in South Africa. I'm going to be sweating like nobody's business. I'm going to be sweating profusely. I don't even know if that's the right word. Anyway, Sumudaerji versus Kevin Borjas, or is it Borges? How to pronounce his name. So, um, as always, Sumudaerji has a 4-inch reach advantage. Um, I think that might play a factor into the striking. As far as the finishing ability, both of them are pretty good at finishing fights. Sumudaerji has an 82% finishing rate, and Kevin Borjas has an 80% finishing rate. Striking wise, Borjas is going to be more active defensively. Sumudaerji will probably be a little bit better defensively. He is good at avoiding getting hurt. On the ground, let's see. Hmm. On the ground, both of them are not particularly great at, or rather defensively, both of them are not particularly great. Offensively, I would give a bit of an advantage to Sumudaerji. So purely because of that, it concerns me a little bit. Obviously, level of competition counts. So in this particular case, normally I don't necessarily like to look at um, level of competition if both of them have basically faced like high level of competition. But in this particular situation, it's kind of really challenging because okay, let's actually start with Sumudaerji because Sumudaerji has a reach advantage in this particular fight, and I feel like it's going to play a significant role in the striking exchanges. Even though Kevin Borjas will probably be a little bit more active on the feed, um, I still do think that what do you call him? Kevin Borjas is going to be a little bit more active. This is gonna be very interesting to see how this fight plays out because overall, it feels like Sumudaerji might have a bit of an advantage almost everywhere. To be honest, it's not a massive one. Just that I do feel like Kevin Borjas is somehow a bit better. I don't feel like I'm believing what I'm saying, man. Um, let me actually start by looking at the level of competition or previous opponents. Maybe that might give me a bit of a bit of confidence in some of or rather in my take basically because at this point I'm not gonna lie to you, it's just kind of feeling like Sumudaerji is poised to get the upset. I don't know who's the favorite in this particular fight. I would assume it's Sumudaerji. Unfortunately, I don't check the odds before and during breakdowns. The only time I check odds is when I do the upsets predictions, right? So in this particular fight, I don't know who the favorite is, but it just feels like just that the Asian guys, man. Whenever I have any sort of confidence in them, they lose somehow. Even fights where I felt like these dudes need to be like are actually better, they they end up somehow messing up, which is something I'm honestly concerned about whenever considering picking one of these, especially the veteran Asian fighters in the UFC, like Song Kenan and all these other, Asian dudes, those that have been in the UFC for a long time. It's kind of hard to have any confidence in them. Elijah Youngblood Pizarro, three dogs for this card. Who you got, G? Um, at this point, I would need to do a little bit more research. I would need to do a bit more research. I'm not gonna lie to you. That's why um, I do the upsets predictions towards the end of the week because at that point I've basically gone through every single fight on the card. Right now, I don't know. I would say at the top of my head, um, I don't know who's the favorite and who's the underdog, but Charles Johnson worries me a lot. I'm not gonna lie to you. So if he's an underdog, he's a pretty good underdog. Who else? Okay, let me finish. Let me finish up. I'll come back to answer you as far as who I think the best underdog is, or rather the best underdogs. But normally those upsets predictions come out on Thursday. Elijah Youngblood, Nogaze, Peruvian guy, Waldo Corteza. If Waldo Corteza Costa wins, I don't know. I don't know. I think the future of the sport is effed. Okay, Sumudaerji has not been fighting the best level of competition. I mean, he lost to Smolka Bede. What's his name? Malcolm Gordon. I mean, some of these dudes I don't even know. Lost to Match Now. Okay, losing to Tim Elliott is not too bad, to be honest. In hindsight, I mean, prospects are losing to Tim Elliott. What's happening to the UFC, dude? I lost to Charles Johnson. It's not. There's no shame in losing to Charles Johnson, and then beat Mitra Poso. Not the best level of competition, to be honest. But he's still young. But I mean, he's been in the UFC since when? 2018. Shit. How old was this guy when he came into the UFC, man? Wow. Like this guy is like a veteran in the UFC at this point. But he hasn't faced anyone important. Even though he's been in the UFC for such a long period of time, it's for me to have any sort of confidence in it because it's kind of crazy to think that he's been in the UFC for such a long period of time and he's never really faced anyone of importance, in my opinion. I think the highest level of competition that he's ever faced is maybe Tim Elliott, which is kind of sad, especially because he lost to him still. And I'm not saying it's sad to lose to Tim Elliott. I'm just saying for someone who's been in the UFC since 2018 and the highest level of competition that you've ever faced is Tim Elliott. I mean that's kind of sad. But my other thing that honestly worries me, I'm not gonna lie to you, I genuinely do feel like Sumudaerji is more well rounded. So if Sumudaerji is an underdog, I think he's another pretty decent underdog. Um, Kevin Borjas went to a decision. I mean, man, in hindsight, Kevin Borjas might be a better pick at this point. Okay, I picked Kevin Borjas, but a lot of people know that whenever I do breakdowns, that's when I convince myself of whether I made the right decision or not. So I'm not. I'm just now looking at the level of competition, and even though Kevin Borjas has fought only three people in the UFC. I mean, went to a decision with Joshua Van. You can make the argument that it wasn't the same Joshua Van that's now going up and climbing up the ranks, but still, I think it's quite impressive for him to actually go to a decision with Joshua Van, even if he lost. Um, Elijah Youngblood, Pizarro, Sumudaerji is the favorite. Okay, it makes sense. I mean, he has the experience. I think all round he might be a little bit better, but once again, you can look better against lesser competition, right? I think what do you call it? Kevin Borjas has faced higher level competition and has performed pretty decently against that level of competition. Outside of everyone, the fact that he was able to go to a decision with what do you call him, Joshua Van, is honestly impressive for me. And then he lost to Costa, who I think is also another solid dude. Alessandro Costa. Let me actually go to Costa. I think Costa is pretty solid. So he went on a two-fight losing streak. Unfortunately for him. Let me see. Costa. Okay, Costa lost to match. What do you call him? Steve Erceg. I've always said that I feel like Steve Erceg is overrated. People were calling me crazy when Steve Erceg was about to fight Kai Kara France, and people were mad at me. Oh, how can you call him overrated? He just went to like a decision with Pantoja. And that's the same argument as Colby Covington. Oh my God, he went to a decision with Kamaru Usman. That means he must be pound for pound. That's stupid. Anyway, um, I don't know, man. He lost to Steve Erceg and beat the Jimmy Flick. Uh, Lost to Amir Albazi. I mean, that's not too bad. It's kind of hard to have any confidence in either of these fighters. But I mean, once again, I will maintain that despite the fact that Kevin Borjas lost the via TKO to what's his name, Alessandro Costa, I think it's honestly still pretty impressive for him to have went to a decision with um, Joshua Van, and obviously in his last fight, which I'm super proud of. A lot of people were going crazy. Were going crazy over Ronaldo Rodriguez, or what's his name, Luis Rodriguez. People were like, "Yeah, this guy is going to beat this." The only fight on this card, I can't remember. I think it was a Mexico card or whatever the case is. The only fight I got wrong on this card was Christian Rodriguez, if I'm not mistaken. Um, was it Christian Rodriguez? I think it was, right? Other than that, I got every single fight correct on that particular card. It was an amazing card. Anyway, Kevin Borjas was an underdog on that particular card, and I was like, Ronaldo is trash, guys. I keep telling these people, not you guys, but I keep telling people that people are trash before everyone else starts calling them trash. And then all of a sudden it's like, yeah, I mean, we all know. But I was calling it before it even happened. I was like, Ronaldo's gonna lose. And people were busy insulting me because at that point the guy was like a really massive favorite. And now look, everyone is off that bandwagon. So I picked Borjas to beat Ronaldo or Luis, whatever his name is. And I was right. So in conclusion, I don't know, man. I feel like Sumudaerji, to be honest, is rightfully the favorite in this particular fight. I think the 4 inch reach advantage is going to give him some type of an advantage. Even though I'm still picking Kevin Borjas, and my subscribers are also picking Kevin Borjas. If you're new to the channel, I am not the kind of guy who's going to sugarcoat my opinion just so that I can convince you that the other guy is going. Unless if I truly believe it. For example, with Hamza Chimaev, if you watched my breakdown for Hamza Chimaev, I told everyone that this thing of cardio was a myth. And I told everyone that I was confident in Hamza Chimaev. Even if you look at my risky or safe picks, I said Hamza Chimaev was a safe pick because I was confident. Even though people were like, I mean, DDP is this, yeah, cardio this. I told everyone. So back to this particular fight, I genuinely don't know, to be honest, who probably wins this fight because all round I think Sumudaerji might be a little bit better. Reach advantage, defensively better. The only advantage I would give to get Kevin Bohas would probably be his what do you call it? His volume, but he gets hit a lot. I don't like that. Even the grappling, I feel like Sumudaerji has ways to actually get it done. Oh, it's kind of worrying. Sumudaerji has a way to go because offensively, Sumudaerji I think might be a little bit better. Defensively, both of them are not particularly great, to be honest. So it's honestly going to be very tricky. I think this is going to be one of those fights that could go either way. I'm still going with Kevin Bohas. I just feel like the guy. I don't think Sumudaerji has any interest in actually advancing his career. And I feel like Kevin Borjas is more committed to actually going further with his career than Sumudaerji. The fact that he's been in the UFC since 2018 and the highest level of competition that he's ever faced is Tim Elliott, whereas Kevin Borjas I think has been in the UFC since 2023 or something like that, or 2023, and he's faced the guy who's currently fighting, who's up next for the belt. So that just goes to show maybe it's matchmaking, it was luck, but still he went to a decision with Joshua Van. So for me personally, I felt like Kevin Borjas is a little bit more um, absorbed with his career, or rather focused on his career, whereas it feels like Sumudaerji is just doing this part time. I don't think he's taking his career too seriously. I will say this though, and I will repeat this. I still do feel like Sumudaerji might be an all-round better fighter. I just feel like Kevin Borjas probably with the activity, uh, man, better competition, in my opinion at least. You are open to disagree with that. I just feel like he's fought a better competition, even though he's had 3 fights in the UFC. He's fought and went to a decision with the guy who's fighting for the belt next. So my reasoning might not be the best. I mean, you are free to pick whoever you feel like picking. I'm going with Kevin Borjas, but in all honesty, not to lie to you, I just feel like Sumudaerji with the reach, with the defensively sound. In striking, he's better defensively. I think at the very least. The reach and even the volume. I don't feel like there's going to be too much of a difference as far as who's going to be throwing how much. I don't think there's going to be too much of a difference. The activity will be more or less the same. Both of them are really good at finishing fights. So I'm not gonna say Sumudaerji is probably going to have the advantage as far as the finishing ability, because Kevin Borjas also can finish. Like all his finishes, as far as I know, all his finishes have come from TKO, right? And even Sumudaerji, like the majority of his finishes came from KO TKO. So I can't give either of them the advantage as far as finishing ability. So I just feel like it comes down to who wants it more. I just think Kevin Borjas probably wants it more. Um, yeah, that's the conclusion of my analysis. I am going with Kevin Borjas. Not very confident. I could see Sumudaerji actually taking this one. I'm not surprised that he's the favorite. For some reason, I thought Kevin Borjas was the favorite. I'm always accused of picking favorites for some reason. I don't check odds, guys, when I make my predictions. Um, Elijah Youngblood, does Johnny have a chance? Yeah. Um, Elijah Youngblood, well, you're always on the channel. I mean, like the predictions are available on the live section, but let me give you a quick recap. So, in all honesty, I feel like Johnny Walker has the experience, right? The biggest problem for Johnny Walker is his chin. I think Johnny Walker is a really decent fighter. Just that I'm not looking at his information. Okay, yes. You are making me go back to the Johnny Walker thingy. But in what I think might potentially happen, Walter Walker is, in my opinion, if not the very best wrestler in the heavyweight division, I would say he's in the top three. I think I don't know about Gelatin Almeida is pretty decent, but his size is working against him, right? So I don't I genuinely do feel like because of Walter Walker's grappling abilities, I think it might enhance Johnny Walker's grappling abilities. I can see a situation where Walter Walker is training with Johnny Walker and he comes in there and he out wrestles or just goes to a decision with Ming Yang Zhang. Zhang has a few sub losses. Yeah, that's one of the things that I'm concerned with. On the feed, I mean, I think it might be. I don't know if it's going to even be competitive. I mean, Johnny Walker has a massive reach advantage. I think he has like a 6.5 inch reach advantage, which is huge. And it probably will help him get out of danger whenever he's about to get knocked out or whatever the case is. But the problem with Johnny Walker is he just needs you to land something and he's going to go down, unfortunately for him. But yeah, defensively, or rather defensively, as far as grappling goes, I could see a situation where Johnny Walker just takes him down and I don't know, controls him, grounds and pounds him, or even submits him. I still picked Ming Yang Zhang. I still do feel like um, he is the better fighter. But I felt like I might get a lot of fights wrong on this card. But yeah, the thing about me is that I'm honest about my predictions, right? If you watch my breakdowns and you'll get a full picture of who I think is going to have that advantage. So even if I pick this particular person, if I feel like for example, what I just said about Sumudaerji, despite the fact that I'm picking Kevin Borjas, I'm outrightly saying that Sumudaerji probably might have a shot at winning this fight. I think he is rightfully the favorite, right? I just feel like Kevin Borjas wants it more, right? So even in that situation, it's kind of tricky. But hey, we'll see when that happens. Let me go to the next fight. I love and appreciate all of you. Until the next one, deuces.